Alright guys, welcome back. We are starting Bakemonogatari episode 11. There's a new arc, and one that I'm kind of excited for, because I see that it's called Tsubasa Cat. And, we've been getting some mentions quite a few times about Anakawa, and all the stuff that happened with a cat about her. So I am curious. I see this very first scene says reminiscence, so I'm curious if this arc will be about the stuff that happened with the cat before, if this whole arc will be like a flashback, or if it's going to be new cat related stuff with her. Because, what was it, 2 episodes ago, she had that like headache thing going on. So I think there's new stuff going on with her as well, but I'm hoping throughout this arc we will also learn about the stuff that happened with her before, because that's kind of been a mystery this whole time. Um, yeah, I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. This arc's also really long. It's 5 episodes long. Previous ones have been like 2 or 3. So yeah, I guess we are going to get into it. Down in the description, there's a Patreon if you want the unedited reaction with the picture and everything. Otherwise, you can line up your own copy with this. But we will be starting in 3, 2, 1. Cats. Very cute. Ooh. So, April, May. Yeah, so this is a little bit more than a week than the first episode. Because that was May 8th. May. Oh, God. Okay. How does that even happen? That certainly explains. Yeah. That doesn't really explain it, but that, certainly part of her family problems, right? I wonder, how does that even happen? What happened to her real parents? Let's be a burden. I feel like that's her thing, right? She doesn't want to be a burden to other people. That's why she always minimizes her problems. Hmm. You think? Interesting. It's an interesting way of framing her behavior, saying that she hasn't changed because of this. Even though. Hmm. So in this, you know, I just I don't know much about the timeline, obviously, but this is after spring break, obviously. So it's Aragi has already gone through the vampire stuff, right? Mm-hmm. Oh. Such a weird response from Aragi. That's such a weird response from him compared to the way he's reacted to other people and their problems, right? It's beautiful. Oh, is it oh man. Oh, honey. Come on. No. Wow. Yeah. So she just does this about anything. I don't know if I believe her. Wow. This feels like the most like real problem a character has been facing. Not to say uh, yeah, he did. Oh, dude. It's like in his it's like God, I'm gonna have to talk about that in the discussion. What I think Aragi is thinking there. And like ah, Man, this episode has been beautiful. The background art. And there's the cat. Will you help me? Hmm. Okay, that's a cut. Oh yeah, new opening. After I graduate, I'm going to travel. Why I'm itchy. Man, that was depressing. There's been kind of hints that Hanakawa's family situation is really bad, but hmm. Very unique visuals for an opening. Ooh. I think there's going along with the last few Hanakawa scenes and my theories, I think it's pretty obvious you know, what the lyrics of this opening could be in regards to. Hmm. An important person to me. He owes her a lot, huh? Definitely got to go back and read all that. Hmm. Never forget that. And the school looks so weird. He's happy. I'm not a co. They always do this, don't they? They always they finish the arc and then the character from the previous arc shows up in the first episode of the next arc. Dude, every time. You should really be thanking Cover instead, huh? Every single time. Man. I think I've seen a gif of her spinning there before. Boy love novels. What? What? Huh? That is true. Hmm. So are you, not a cow. I want to know what's up with you. Of course you do. Trying to cut down on speaking so much during the episode so I don't miss lines. But there's so many things I want to say. All right. Okay, man. All right. What? Hello? All right. Let's calm down. Hmm. Oh, Shinobu. Mm-hmm. Okay, okay. Say anything to you. She hasn't spoken a single time that we've seen. Pseudo-vampire. Mm-hmm. Of course it was. Hmm. True, right. You know, I agree with that. Well, I agree that you shouldn't blame the aberration. The aberration is a manifestation of an external problem, right? Which makes the last arc weird, right? If you think about it. This is very interesting visuals. I think she wants you to help her if she has any problems. Gotta read Doraemon at some point. What, she's a big fan? I guess she's a big fan of Doraemon. Alright. Does he? I feel like his follow-ups haven't been great, other than getting the reference. What are you doing? Okay. Trying to brush her hair? Like, what? Hello? Yeah? What? Yeah. The problem is the place you're protecting. Talking about like her hair again versus her skirt, I guess. She have something about her hair, I guess. I don't know. Hmm. Interesting. Yeah, looks a little bit uh dark. Really aware of people's looks. Hmm. What do you mean, what are you doing here? You're just standing outside the school. Oh, okay. She is very shy, huh? She's stuck. Oh no. Yeah, she just ran away from Hanakawa. He's just still holding those. I already told her about it, yeah. At the library, right? Hmm. Same thing as always. He never does anything in his mind. Hmm. Obviously, he feels real beat up about it. Feels like he failed, of course. Hmm. They went to the same middle school. Of course, of course. Hmm. Can you put those away, please? Hmm. Give it. What's some interesting rumors? What do we got? Hmm. Very interesting she would bring these up. I'm sure she's just gonna phrase it in a way of like, you need to. I don't even know. I don't know. She's just gonna give him some sage advice about these things she's telling him. Of course, you know. I'm sure she has no ulterior motives for bringing those up. Hmm. Covering her mouth. Hmm. Of course you did, I'm sure. I'm not saying, like, I don't mean to be doubting Hanakawa so much. I just think there's very clear, um, I never lie. Oh, okay. I never lie. I can think of a lie you might have told in this episode, in the first scene. Such a weird thing to say. Like, hmm. I don't know about that. So this theme of change has come back, huh? She has someone. Yeah, well, I think, about that. Like, what? What are you talking about? Ooh, headache again. Yeah. It's come up in a very similar situation to last time, right? After she did the whole almost kissing him in the library thing. She had a headache right after that. And now right after this, which I think you can view in a pretty similar light. As always, it's like she doesn't want to worry people. She doesn't like what she said in the first scene that she doesn't want to be a bother. Oh, okay. Or she doesn't want to be a burden, I think was her wording. So the same thing. She's had the headaches and the same thing before. The exact same thing. Whoa. Okay. Was it that cat they buried? I guess. At least that's what Aragi's thinking of. I mean, it framed it pretty much as you know, that's just different than other aberrations, kind of. Because in this case, it's like it's framing it. Anyway, Sawari Neko, Metal Cat. Hmm. In terms of reality, huh? Hmm. Interesting. God, I can't think. I have to read. Oh, that was okay. Assaulted by monsters cuts the shinobi with an ominous noise. Jesus. Mm-hmm. Stress. Hmm. Can think of a few sources of it. Well, yeah, that last thing is a big one for sure. There could be a new source of it now. That certainly seems to be the cause. She's had headaches twice after very similar scenes, right? Interesting. Mm-hmm. Energy drain. Okay, she didn't kill anyone, at least. Hmm, her parents, yeah. Interesting. So, all of this happened over Golden Week, and all of this stuff happened with her parents, and none of it was resolved at all. So this was May 7th. The first episode started on May 8th, so this is literally the day before the first episode. Oh god. So it's like a proper possession, or it's framed as a proper possession, you know? They've done this to us before with Kombaru. Oh, hi Shinobu. It's not relieved in a year. Okay. Hmm. Yeah, because Oshino gave her that name, right. Hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Vampires were the apparent kings of aberrations, right? Hmm. So they drain the stress, but not the cause of it, you know. And now I think she has another cause added on top. It was solved, yeah, just like the previous ones have been solved, I'm sure. Yeah, Aragi. And she doesn't remember, right? So yeah, Aragi thinks it's a big deal because it is, and Hanakawa doesn't. He should just bring her to Ushino, shouldn't he? I mean, what is the hospital gonna do if she's having this weird aberration stuff going on? Yeah, she doesn't want people to worry about her. Just makes her feel bad, honestly. Just right back to this. Just ignore her problem completely. All of that. Let's go back to Sindra you know? It's so weird. Like, just that's, you know. Hmm. Probably. Probably. Okay. The episode's over? How? Okay, I mean, that has to be the shortest 22 minutes I have experienced in my entire life. That doesn't make any sense. That can't be right. Man, all right. It's a good episode. Finally got some of the stuff I wanted. A little bit of backstory for Hanakawa and Araragi. Uh, man, we haven't seen Hachikuji in a while. What happened to her, huh? When is the last time we saw her? Was it just the first episode of Cumber's arc? I think it was, wasn't it? I guess Sindra didn't show up last arc either. I guess they can't have all the characters showing up all the time. I guess they waited until we introduced all the characters to show us the full ED, you know? It's so good, though. Oh, God, that art style. It's so good. All right. Incoherent Bam rambling. Let's go. Mm-hmm. True. Sure. And one. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. What do you mean, where is it? Huh? It's, I guess. Okay. I'm stumped yet again. I can never do it. I can never do it. Alright, I'll see you guys in the discussion. Alright, let's go through the episode. So, Hanakawa, huh? We finally got some stuff about her. Um, some stuff about Golden Week, which has been mentioned a few times, alongside Spring Break as being, big things that have happened in the past before the first episode that we saw, right? We see Hanakawa's family problems are indeed real bad. About what I expected, frankly, with yeah, makes sense. She's always walking around in the middle of the night, because of how bad it is. So yeah, makes sense. So I guess we'll just talk about Hanakawa first, then we'll talk about Araragi. Um, so I feel like this one line, this one line here. Where is it? Where is it? It's where she says she doesn't want to be a burden. Yeah, I must really, never mind. It's not, I don't want to be a burden. It's even worse. It's her just thinking of herself as a burden, right? Because the reason why I feel like this resonates with me so much is, man, so I've thought for a while, I realized a while ago that I think Hanakawa's issue is like minimizing her own problems and, all that stuff, right? She's tried to bring up what I really think is her, discomfort with Araragi dating Sindrikara, which is fine. Like I'm not saying she's like right to think like that or that Aragi's bad for dating Sindrikara or something. I'm just saying that's what she's feeling, right? Is she's kind of jealous of Aragi and Sindrikara, right? And she's been trying to bring it up in this bizarre roundabout way. She kind of just like it just seems like addressing her own emotions and her own issues, especially with a different person and their actions or anything, right? It seems to be very difficult for her, right? I think this episode showed it really well too, when she's having this headache, and literally, I mean, this is like the most obvious one where Ari's like, "Okay, we should bring you to the hospital. How about that?" And she says, "You're worrying too much. More importantly, what about Shinjo Gahara?" Like, I think this is the most obvious. There's no way you could miss this, where I she literally drops this very important, vital stuff that is going on with her that at least Aragi thinks is very important. He has reason to. She lost her memories of Golden Week, but this very important stuff. She's like, okay, more importantly than that, how about we go back to the previous subject? Because, she doesn't want to talk about her own issues. She doesn't want to feel like a burden, right? Because here, let me finish my thought from earlier. I don't want to drop it. So, I realize that I think that's her problem, is minimizing her own issues and not wanting to talk about them. So, you can think of several reasons for why someone would think like that. You can, that type of behavior can come from a lot of different mental states, I think, and a lot of different ways that you think about yourself. Like for Aragi, he's kind of similar in that way with some things. He certainly hasn't talked about his issues with many people, right? About the clear like mental turmoil he's having, because I think in a way he has very low self-worth of himself. So like, there's just different explanations you can come up with for why a character would be exhibiting this kind of behavior that Hanakawa is. So I think in this case, her issue is like, she doesn't want to feel like a burden to other people, which, like, I'm trying to think of a way to explain this because I feel like this is incredibly relatable. It's like, I mean, it's literally just, I'm sure everyone on the planet, well, maybe I'm just projecting too much, but everyone on the planet, it's like when you know, you want to ask a friend if they want to hang out or something, right? And you decide not to because you think they might be doing something else, or you think they might be busy, or just any kind of situation like that where you undermine something that you want because you're worried about your feelings, what you want, and your emotions bothering someone else. I mean, it's any time. It's like, for example, like, man, it feels very relatable to me, I guess. Like, any time in life that you have a problem that you don't bring up with someone, right? Um, because you don't want to bother them. I guess I can't really explain it much better than that. I feel like for a lot of people, this has to be very relatable. It certainly is for me. Yeah, I guess that's all I'll say about that. Is this Hanakawa's situation here? It's obviously very extreme for her. The fact that she is, justifying being abused and all of this stuff. It's very extreme for her, right? Her not wanting to be a burden, not wanting to bother other people with her problems. But it's interesting. I feel like in relation to Araragi, there is some interesting stuff there because with Araragi, it's like normally he really wants to help people. Like that's his thing. It brought up many times about how he really wants to help people. Let me make sure my mic is not muted. Okay, we're good. He really wants to help people. It's like he can't help himself from doing it. And I brought up a few times how interesting it is that he decides not to help Hanakawa. Even though, at least from our perspective, she's going through some serious issues, and she brings it up specifically to Araragi that she's being physically abused by her parents, and he decides not to help her, right? But the interesting thing, what I was thinking is how it is interesting, like, you know, her personal feelings, what she wants is to not be a burden on other people. So, in order to help her in this situation, at least from her perspective, right, is don't tell anyone about it. That's what she wants, right? Because she thinks it'll just her problem being out there, and anyone involving themselves with her problems should feel like a burden on other people. So she doesn't want to feel like a burden for Araragi, and if he understands that, which maybe if Araragi understands that, I could see that as a potential explanation for why he isn't helping her with this situation, right? Although now that I'm saying it, I really just don't know if that works because like Araragi he's explained it so many times about how he literally can't stop himself, how he has to help people no matter what. So I feel like there is potential interplay between their personalities in that way. Um, but I don't actually know if that is the explanation now that I'm saying it out loud. So I don't know. So there's this weird like chain link fence background on this whole thing. That looks weird. I don't know. Why did I bring that up? I don't know. I just noticed it as I was staring at this. It looks kind of weird. Anyway, so man, yeah, it's rough. I don't know. It's rough. Because like Hanakawa, she doesn't. It's like it's so extreme for her that she doesn't even want to bother anyone with her being physically abused. So it's very. I think it's noteworthy that her behavior these past few episodes, especially where she brings up this Senjo Gahara related stuff to Aragi in a way that I think is very clearly very vaguely hinting at her being interested in Aragi. Like obviously she frames it in such a way to try and like, man, I guess it's just the most she can make herself do. She's like fighting against herself. Like obviously she wants to say stuff to Aragi. She feels jealous and she wants to talk about it, but she can't make herself do it. And it's like the most that she can do is this incredibly veiled, like allusions to it. But I think it shows how extreme her feelings about Aragi and Senjugahara are. That you know she has no problem. I mean, obviously she has a problem with it, but she's able to hide this abuse from everyone and beg people not to tell anyone about it. But this Aragi and Senjugahara stuff is something that she has to that she can't hold herself back from expressing in some way, right? And the headaches that she's been having, which the headaches have happened both times, in the last episode, or no, 2 episodes ago, after the library scene. The headache happened right after the scene where she almost kisses Aragi. She goes on about all that stuff that I think was her projecting her own feelings onto Senjugahara about what Aragi is doing with all these other girls, right? And in this episode, it's when she brings up, Senjugahara and these rumors she's been hearing. Where is that at? Yeah, right here. With these rumors she's been saying that she's been hearing, which I think it's the same kind of thing. I think as the library scene. And she gets a headache again right after this, right? So, what is the exact? Yeah, no, she just kind of gets it afterwards. I don't really think there's something specific Aragi said because he just incoherently says something about Draimon. So Yeah, I don't think there's some specific thing that triggers it, because he's just thinking this, right? Which, he's dumb. Um, and it's after she says that she never lies, which is a crazy thing to say. I think there was a lie right here when she says it was only once. Um, so man, rough. Yeah, it was only one time, huh? Um, and also I want to mention this. It reminds me of that one scene in Mayori's Snail when Hanakawa saw Hachikuji, and she said that weird stuff about how, like, man, what even was it exactly? Like, you know, using violence against a child is acceptable if you tell them why, or some crazy thing like that. And I mean, that was just more of her justifying her own abuse. So yeah, rough, rough. I feel like there was one more thing about Hanakawa I wanted to mention, and it has completely slipped my mind. So, hmm, I don't know. There was one more thing about Aragi and Hanakawa, at least, is it's like if no, I think that just goes back to the stuff I was talking about earlier. That I'm not sure if that explanation actually works or not. So maybe not, maybe not. I'm sure this arc is 5 episodes long, so we'll have a lot of time to talk about it. I'm sure. But yeah, it's interesting though how they had this, in this flashback, they show us that basically the same thing has happened before, where she had a source of stress, which was her family, and they solved it by having Shinobu drain the stress out of her. Obviously, that didn't solve anything. All that did was drain the stress, and it's just going to build back up, right? Because the source of the stress wasn't addressed in any way. And I think now it's like, she has another source of stress. She has Aragi and Shinjagahara and all of that stuff going on. So it's probably just going to be even worse than before. And what I was talking about, I mentioned this briefly in the episode as well. You know, they're showing this aberration. So for one, the way she became afflicted with this aberration is burying this cat. Um, which, man, I don't know if I'll be able to find it. Who knows? But it was burying this cat. Which is very different than the previous aberrations. All the previous aberrations have been like not really like that. Well, I guess you could say Komburu's was kind of like that. She used the paw, doing a specific action to like activate it. So maybe it's not as weird as I was thinking. Just because like the crab and the snail were just really vague supernatural things that happened. Not doing some specific action that makes the cat show up. Because like obviously in this case, burying the cat isn't what actually causes this problem for Hanakawa. Because the problem for Hanakawa is the stress, right? It's not the cat doesn't have anything to do with it, right? Because like it's not like burying the cat would cause all of this stress and everything. So like burying the cat is kind of disconnected from the actual emotional problem that underlies the aberration. So I guess that's what I mean by saying it's kind of weird. That Araragi thinks it's like, oh, it must be when we buried that cat. Um, but I don't know. I don't know if that really means anything, I guess. And then so it's framed as a possession, right? Just like Kombaru, right? Kombaru, it was framed as a possession, as her being possessed. She said like, "Oh, I was in a trance. I didn't know anything. I couldn't tell what I was doing." She was very vague about it because it was much less of a possession than we were led on to think, right? It was instead of it being a possession, it's like it was very much in line with her desires. Uh, so I just wonder. It just makes me wonder. I mean, like, I don't think Hanakawa would just go around attacking people for fun, because unlike in the Kanburu one when she was being possessed, at least what she was doing as she was possessed was directly in line with what she wanted. In this case, I mean, she does attack her parents, to be fair, which could be something Hanakawa does want deep down. It's almost like you could view the headaches. It's like, your head hurting, it feels like there's something like inside of you trying to like get out. You could kind of view a headache as like that. Some internal pain that is happening, and then the cat comes out, and all of this happens. I don't really think maybe this possession angle just doesn't go anywhere, I guess. Because I don't really think it is just her deciding to go around and attack people. So I don't really think it's like a Conbrew situation where she's not really being possessed. Hmm. Because like I don't really see a connection between her deciding to attack people and drain their energy and some kind of solution to her stress, right? I mean, like, yeah, I don't know. I guess that's just a dead end. I don't really know what to think about that. Just because I couldn't help but just think about the only other case we've seen of a possession aberration and how it wasn't real. But I mean, it was real, but like, you know what I mean. Maybe that doesn't really go anywhere. I just wonder because like Oshino says it's like her hidden inner personality, right? Um, which so I was thinking about this during the episode. Okay, I gotta calm down. I need to finish one thought at a time. So he was saying this stuff about how it's her hidden inner personality and stuff, right? It's like multiple personality disorder or whatever. Um, which that makes me think that it is not really like a classic possession type thing, and she is more aware of her actions than Araragi might lead us to believe, right? But I can't really get over the hurdle of feeling like why would she just go around attacking random people? So I don't know. That's just I would have to think about that, I guess. But I do want to think about how, if let's say the cat for Hanakawa is representative of like her problems that she doesn't want other people to know about, or she doesn't want to burden other people. She doesn't want to feel like a burden, right? So if the cat is a representation of that, of the problems that she doesn't want other people to know about, um, and Oshino's like, oh, it's the black bad Hanakawa Tsubasa, Um, for one, at first I was thinking like I don't really like that framing because it's like you're almost supporting her mindset there that these parts of her that she doesn't want to burden other people with are indeed something bad that is like this negative thing. Because I think her mindset's wrong, right? There's no problem with other people, that's not very good for a healthy relationship to never tell anyone about your problems because you don't want to bother them. So I was thinking like, okay, this is bad because it's almost supporting her mindset here. But if we think about it from her perspective, aberrations are about the person that they're afflicting. So it's like the reason why it could manifest this metal cat Sawari Neko thing is manifesting in such a way that's so evil and going out and attacking random people could be because that's how she views those problems, right? She thinks that stuff about her, this hidden inner personality that she has, which is like representative of all these problems, she thinks that it's like bad and evil and is going to hurt other people, right? Because she doesn't want to burden other people. So that's why it represents as, her going around and attacking a bunch of people, right? Makes sense to me, I guess. Um, hmm. And then let's talk about Araragi for a second. I feel like that, I don't know, we'll probably go back to Hanakawa, but let's talk about Araragi for a second. So, in this episode, so for one, Araragi doing the same thing for, I mean, what, the fifth time in a row? Sixth? I don't know. He's died forever, I guess, every time. Where he's, of course, he meets Nadaka outside the school, and he tells her, oh, you shouldn't thank me, you should thank Kanbaru, because as always, he thinks he's a failure who didn't do anything, and he's, a terrible person who failed in every way, and, his typical Araragi stuff, I guess. And it's interesting. He brought up Shinobu to Nadako, which he said, like, Nadako said she's a vampire, it's her fault for why you're like this, and he said, no, it was my fault. Which, the other framing we've seen has been from Oshino, which he has said several times, like, Shinobu has attacked you, right? I want to get that frame of the flat. Yeah, it just flashes to Shinobu looking like this when he says, you were assaulted by monsters. It flashes to her. So it's very interesting because it just makes me think, okay, there's no way it really was his fault then. Shinobu must have attacked him, surely, right? Because it's just my default position to go against Araragi's mindset because he's just wrong about the way he thinks about himself. He always blames himself. So I don't know. It's just I'm very curious what happened for spring break. I really wonder who was at fault in this whole Araragi vampire situation because I don't believe him that it was his fault. Um, and then, you know, the conversation with Nautico, I'm just trying to think what I really want to say about it. You know, there's like, she brings up these weird references to Doraemon. Sure, very funny. She gives him the bloomers and this, which I do want to say about something about that at the very end. But you know, she gives him those, and he asked her about Shinobu, which I thought was interesting. I wonder why. It's like he asks her if Shinobu said anything, which is weird. I mean, maybe it's not weird. We don't know the history between them at all, but you know, ask her if Shinobu said anything to her, um, which is interesting because we haven't seen Shinobu talk at all. Um, so I don't know. I really do wonder about Shinobu's like mental state, I guess. But hmm. Anyway, um, what was I saying? I literally don't remember. But yeah, Nautico rambles on about Draemon. There's this weird scene. I think what it's going for here, he reaches for her hair, right? And she like I got is he trying to pat her head or like touch her hair? I don't know. Because he makes like a swooping motion, you know. And then he lifts up her skirt and she just stares at him. And there's this sign. There's a lot of problems with the place you're protecting. So, like, I guess it's saying like, I, I don't know. I guess I don't know. Um, no, no, couldn't tell you. Well, no, I guess I could tell. I mean, I feel like it's pretty clear, I guess, but weird. I don't know. I don't know what's up with that. Well, no, I feel like okay, maybe I could really analyze. I could really go for some like weird, analysis here, right? Let's say like him patting her head or touching her hair or whatever could be a symbol of like some kind of like real connection or something, you know. And we know that Nautico has this problem where she doesn't tell her problems or anything to anyone. That's all we know about Nautico is that we don't know anything about her because she won't tell anyone about herself and her problems, right? So like I guess you could say him touching her head or her hair, patting her head, whatever he was trying to do, is representative of like of a real connection, and then him lifting her skirt could be representative of like the weird like superficial crush thing she has going on with him, and how like that's all she wants, I guess. Like I don't know. I guess sure. There's your analysis of that one. um, Hmm. And then yeah, this stuff like about her eyes being different. Man, I don't know. I don't know what that's all about. I really have so many questions about Shinobu, and I don't know. And then Nautico is real cute and is scared of and like she says, she's really aware of people's looks. Because yeah, because she's just the shy person, right? I feel like her whole thing of hiding everything about herself from other people and from like us, the audience, right? Like the author is her cohort in this and is also hiding everything about her from us. But like I guess her being such a shy and secretive person, like this makes sense. Being really aware of people's looks, like sure, makes sense. And Hanakawa shows up and Naruto runs away because I don't know, very cute. Yeah, I covered this scene. I think covered all this, and yeah, and maybe overanalyzing yet again, but I think you can get meaning from this, right? The end of the episode is Hanakawa tells Araragi that he should hide these, right? He should put them away so people can't see them, right? Think about this. Think about this. I'm going to hit you with this one. So, like, from Hanakawa's perspective, she has this uh, inside personality, which, for one, I don't really know if I agree with that framing. It's like you're separating, because it's like you're separating her from the stuff that she doesn't want to share with other people because she thinks she's being a burden on them. It's like you're separating them when there is no separation. It's just her, right? Like I don't like that's what she is doing mentally. That's why the cat possession is like a thing, right? It's why like because in her mind it's like she's separating but it's like so her viewing this the the bloomers and stuff as something that she needs to that Araragi should put away in his bag, the same way that she doesn't want to burden other people with her problems and like hides them. It's different. Like I'm just realizing as I'm saying this, it seems like it's similar to Nautico in a way, like when hide your problems from other people. Um, I just feel like it's different, just in a way I can't describe. So, hmm, I don't know. I don't know. I guess I can't. I literally cannot describe why they're different. Um, I guess it's just because for Nautico, because like before this episode, I didn't have a foundation for why I thought Hanakawa acted like this. Now I do because of her saying she doesn't want to be a burden on other people, right? For Nautico, I don't really have a reason, and I don't. We haven't really had any like other scenes that make me think Nautico is anything like the same reason Hanakawa does for hiding her problems, right? Anyway, I feel like you can make some connection between her thinking that Aragi should hide this from other people and the way that she hides stuff from other people for not wanting to be a burden. That's all. Maybe, Because, like, there's a reason why the author has this line, right? I don't think I'm overanalyzing it. It means something. There you go. That's what I got. Um, all right. Well, that was a good episode. I mean, literally, that was the fastest any episode has ever gone by. That's the fastest 22 minutes I've experienced in my entire life. So, if these next 4 other episodes of this arc can be like that, that'd be crazy. All right, well, I guess leave a comment, tell me what you guys think. And I guess I'll see you guys in the next one. Man, it was as I was editing this video to upload it, I realized I didn't read these. So let's do that, because I know I wanted to read them, because they seem very important. So, Hanakawa Tsubasa, I don't know why it flips them sometimes. I hate when subtitles and things do that. It bothers me so much. Maybe it bothers me too much, but I don't know. Is an important person to me. It's hard, even impossible, to replace her with anyone else. No one can replace another person, that's what Aragi said. I owe her. No. I owe her a lot. I probably wouldn't be able to repay my debt to her no matter what I do. That's not a very good thing to think about, like, anyone. I think that's pretty much never a healthy dynamic for a relationship, probably. Hanakawa Tsubasa, the girl with weird wings. No idea what that means. A class rep among class reps, the class rep chosen by God. That is indeed like the anime trope that she represents. She's good at her studies and also popular in her class. In addition to being honest, she has a habit of helping people. This may not be the right way to say it, but I couldn't believe what I learned about her family during the Golden Week. Golden Week, the 9 days between April 29th and May 7th. Oh, I missed something there. She was enchanted by a cat. Oh, come on. Enchanted by a cat, just like I was attacked by a demon. The spirit had a good reason, aberration. In this case, the reason was probably the dissension and distortion in her family that brought her up. Still, Hanakawa Tsubasa offered her hand to me. During that spring break, even though she didn't have any free time, nevertheless, she pulled me from the deepest pit. So it goes back to spring break. Yeah, not... Pressure. Similar to stress, huh? I'll never forget that no matter what happens. Yeah, and it's like, I feel like Aragi, like... I'm feeling so indebted to her. I don't know. Interesting. I guess I would have to know what she did, but no matter what she did, I don't think it's a very appropriate thing to basically ever think that you can't pay someone back for what they did for you. So, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, I guess that's the end. I already gave the outro, and like, so, yeah, bye.